thought of a tiny little body.
Ever scroll through Prime Video and feel like you've seen it all? We thought the same, until we dove into the deep hidden corners and found a twisted lineup of films Amazon doesn't push to the front page. Based on wild recommendations and some late-night digging,
Is there someone dead up there?
we turned on the TV and uncovered 10 dark, overlooked movies that you need to watch. Let's get into it. Number 10, Nanny. At first glance, Nanny looks like a quiet drama about a Senegalese immigrant working as a caregiver in Manhattan, but it slowly unravels into something far more sinister. As Aisha cares for a wealthy couple's daughter, eerie visions and disturbing dreams begin to haunt her, drawing on West African folklore and a grief that refuses to stay buried. The horror here isn't loud. It creeps in through shadows, through water, through whispered memories. Director Nikyatu Jusu crafts a slow-burn psychological nightmare that's both intimate and unnerving. With a powerhouse performance by Anna Diop and imagery that lingers long after the credits roll, Nanny is a deeply emotional descent into guilt, motherhood, and myth, wrapped in a chilling, supernatural shell. Number 9, The Horseman. The Horseman is not for the faint of heart. This is pure, unfiltered vengeance with a pulse-pounding edge. After a father discovers his daughter died following a brutal assault, he embarks on a relentless, blood-soaked rampage to find the men responsible. But what starts as violent revenge spirals into a deeper exploration of grief, rage, and moral collapse. Along the way, he forms an uneasy bond with a runaway teen, adding a strange emotional core to all the brutality. The film's raw, stripped-down style and uncompromising violence make it as disturbing as it is gripping. It's not flashy, but it hits hard, like a hammer to the gut. The Horseman is an underground Australian revenge thriller that refuses to let you look away. Number 8, Totally Killer. Totally Killer is a wild, blood-soaked ride that mashes up time travel and slasher horror with a wicked sense of humor. After her mother is murdered by the infamous Sweet 16 killer, a teenage girl accidentally travels back to 1987 to stop the original murder spree and maybe save her mom's life. Kiernan Shipka leads the chaos with a sharp, witty performance, navigating the neon-soaked, brutally retro world of the 80s. The kills are brutal, the jokes land hard, and the movie balances its bloody thrills with some surprisingly clever time travel twists. It's part Back to the Future, part Scream, and it never takes itself too seriously. If you're in the mood for a slasher that's fast, funny, and full of nostalgic carnage, Totally Killer will totally hit the spot. Number 7, Abigail. Abigail is a bloody, chaotic blast that flips the vampire genre on its head. A group of kidnappers think they've scored a huge payday by abducting a rich man's young daughter, only to discover she's a centuries-old vampire who's been playing them all along. Directed by the team behind Ready or Not, this film delivers savage gore, wicked humor, and a relentless pace that keeps the chaos spinning. Alicia Weir is terrifying and brilliant as the deceptively innocent Abigail, while the ensemble cast fights to survive a nightmare they never saw coming. With slick visuals, bone-crunching action, and a ton of gruesome twists, Abigail feels like a modern vampire flick soaked in old-school horror flair. If you're craving high-energy horror with sharp teeth and sharper wit, Abigail is a can't-miss bloodbath. Number 6, Suspiria. Luca Guadagnino's Suspiria isn't a remake, it's a possession. Set in a grim, divided Berlin in 1977, this ballet school nightmare trades in gore, gender, and generational trauma. Dakota Johnson plays a wide-eyed dancer drawn into a prestigious academy run by a coven of witches, led by a mesmeric Tilda Swinton in 3 roles. Far from Dario Argento's colorful original, this version is cold, cerebral, and unsettlingly clinical. From bone-breaking dance rituals to a blood-soaked witch's sabbath, Suspiria blends arthouse ambition with body horror and occult surrealism. With Tom York's eerie score echoing in the background, the film builds to a grotesque climax that's impossible to forget. It's long, challenging, and divisive. But for those who can stomach its spell, Suspiria is a transfixing descent into beautiful madness. Number 5. You Were Never Really Here.
I can be.
Lynn Ramsey's You Were Never Really Here is a brutal, poetic descent into the psyche of a broken man. Joaquin Phoenix plays Joe, a haunted, hammer-wielding mercenary who rescues trafficked girls in a world where violence is the only language. As he's pulled into a deeper conspiracy, Joe spirals through trauma, grief, and rage, his inner torment reflected in Ramsey's impressionistic, fragmentary storytelling. The film strips the revenge thriller to its bones, focusing more on suffering and silence than spectacle. Johnny Greenwood's eerie, glitch-laced score pulses beneath the film's dread. Ramsey doesn't glorify violence. She interrogates it, embedding horror in every quiet glance. At just 90 minutes, it's lean, devastating, and unforgettable. Phoenix's raw performance earned him Cannes' Best Actor. This is revenge cinema as art, shocking, soulful, and searing. Number 4. Bones and All. Bones and All is a hauntingly romantic road movie soaked in blood and longing. Set in the 1980s, America, it follows Marin, Taylor Russell, a teenage cannibal abandoned by her father, who falls into a fragile love with fellow eater, Lee, Timothée Chalamet. As they drift through dusty towns and desolate highways, the film weaves horror with intimacy, presenting cannibalism not as shock, but as metaphor for isolation, addiction, and inherited trauma. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's melancholic score deepens the ache, while Guadagnino's dreamy visuals capture both horror and beauty in every frame. Taylor Russell's quiet intensity and Chalamet's vulnerability make their doomed romance feel achingly tender. Despite its grotesque premise, the film devours you slowly, with empathy, sadness, and a twisted sort of grace. Number 3. The Iceman. The Iceman is a chilling dive into the double life of real-life contract killer Richard Kuklinski, played with haunting intensity by Michael Shannon. On the surface, Kuklinski is a devoted family man. Beneath, he's a remorseless mob hitman responsible for over 100 murders. The film traces his descent from a quiet porn dubber to one of the mafia's deadliest enforcers, working for Roy DeMeo, Ray Liotta, while concealing his violent reality from his unsuspecting wife, Winona Ryder. Chris Evans delivers a surprisingly grim performance as fellow killer Mr. Freezy. With cold precision and brutal bursts of violence, the Iceman avoids glamorization, focusing instead on the emotional toll and psychological fracture behind Kuklinski's icy mask. It's a sleek, disturbing portrait of evil hiding in plain sight. Number 2. The Invisible Man.
Let me help you.
Lee Whannell's The Invisible Man is a chilling reimagining of H.G. Wells' classic, reframed as a gaslighting horror allegory about domestic abuse. Elizabeth Moss gives a searing performance as Cecilia, a woman tormented by her abusive tech genius ex who fakes his death and stalks her using an advanced invisibility suit. As the haunting escalates and no one believes her, Cecilia must outwit a foe no one else can see. Smart, suspenseful, and disturbingly relevant, the film blends sci-fi and horror into a nerve-rattling thriller that weaponizes silence and space. Backed by Whannell's taut direction and Benjamin Wallfish's eerie score, The Invisible Man reinvents the universal monster for the modern age and reminds us how terror can hide in plain sight. Number 1. We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Franklin, pick up the phone!
He's just a sweet little kiss.
Directed by Lynn Ramsey, We Need to Talk About Kevin is a harrowing psychological drama exploring motherhood, guilt, and evil. Tilda Swinton delivers a haunting performance as Eva, a woman grappling with her sociopathic son, Kevin's horrific school massacre. Through non-linear flashbacks, the film unfolds Eva's tortured memories, her unease during Kevin's upbringing, her isolation, and her guilt after the tragedy. Ezra Miller chills as the manipulative, remorseless teen whose hostility grows with age. Shot with stark symbolic visuals and underscored by Johnny Greenwood's haunting score, the film blurs the line between nature and nurture, asking whether Kevin was born monstrous or shaped by neglect. Disturbing, masterfully directed, and emotionally devastating, it's a gut-wrenching portrayal of parental anguish and one of the most unforgettable films of the century. And that's a wrap on our countdown. From psychological spirals in The Invisible Man to the cold, calculated violence of The Iceman. Today, we explored the darkest minds, the quietest killers, and the thrill of suspense that keeps you glued to the screen.
You think God's gonna save you? You tell him to come down and stop me.
If one of these films just made your watch list, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss a drop of twisted thrillers and gripping recommendations. Got a favorite thriller or psychological mindbender we missed? Drop it in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, throw in a popcorn emoji so we know you're with us till the end. Thanks for diving into the shadows with us. We'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp.